Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the brand new Italian Tier 9 heavy tank, the Progetto 66. Now this is a tank in the line that I actually enjoyed myself. I don't think this is a bad tank, and honestly I don't think the reload is all that horrendous. It's still not great, but it's a lot better than the rest of the line in comparison to other tier 9s, basically. Now, obviously, you've still got tanks like the Conqueror that will absolutely crap all over this thing in terms of its DPM, right? But, as you're going to see with the shell reload on this one for the final shell, I got it, with the cruise skills and stuff, down to 12.2 seconds. And 12.2 seconds is slow, granted, but it's not that bad. Because there's a lot of tanks at the tier that are heavy tanks that also have reloads that are relatively similar. And I'm talking about like the Concept 1B, AMX M451, AE Phase 1, loads of heavy tanks like that that have basically, once you get them with the cruise and that and pimp the reloads down as much as possible, you get them down to like 10.5 second reloads. So the fact that this reloads about a second and a half slower than those, and you get the 1200 clip, it's not that bad. And it's quite usable. And also, this tank isn't that bad for just when you drop the full clip. Unlike, say, the Rhinoceronte, or the Progetto 54, or the Bisonte, if you fire the whole clip in those tanks, you really just feel like you're left sat twiddling your thumbs. This tank isn't as bad, and I don't feel there's as much punishment for dropping 1, 2, or dropping 1, 2, 3. And I pretty much enjoyed this tank for the most part, all the way through. It is still slightly frustrating with obviously how slow the reload is, but there's a playstyle for it. And like I say, the reload doesn't hinder you as badly. Add to that, the gun's quite nice, and it's a pretty enjoyable tank. So like you saw at the start, when we got the Centurion 7-1, I didn't hesitate. I mean, obviously, it's because we were also quite early on in the game, right? And that was a thing as well. And I knew that if I blew my clip there, I'd have time to reload. It's only the start of the game. There'd be enough time to get the reload in and then go again. But I also just wanted to punish that Centurion 7-1 and get rid of him. Get him out of the game, because I knew I probably could if I dropped the clip. I was trying to track him with a third shot and I ended up hitting him, tracking him, setting him on fire, burning him out, which was fairly fortunate. Obviously, this is one of those tanks that you do have to show restraint with, because, I mean, while there isn't as much punishment for blowing the clip, you still have to show restraint, because obviously if you just keep dropping 1200 clips constantly, you're not really going to get anywhere, because, well, everything is just going to pass you by even more than it probably would do anyway. So, we managed to shut down the Death Star there, and we've got an M48 20mm sat in front of us who's totally oblivious of us. And we're just going to sit here and wait for the reload to go in. We're going to pop a shot at his engine deck straight in, kind of hoping to shoot his back end there, hit his engine and set him on fire, because that is a good way to obviously set it on fire in the fuel tanks or in the back end of the tank as well. And I'm kind of sad that I didn't do it. We're going to shoot again, but somehow that one misses that back deck. I don't know how that happened. No idea. He's now realised that he can come for us. We pop one in. Artillery finally takes a shell at us. We actually lost the town somehow. We had like 6 tanks go for that E100 and Death Star and somehow came out losers. I don't know how that happened. And it's like, well, now I'm in a bit of a predicament because I've got an E100 that's going to drop 750 into me on my left. I don't want to get killed by that guy. It's also quite awkward shooting an E100 from this elevation, because this tank only does have 242 pen on its standard AP, which is not particularly good enough to go through the angled lower plate of an E100. But we finally do get the shell through, and we've just got to get away from this M48 120mm, because he could YOLO in and hurt us. I don't have the clip at the mix. We've only got 1 in to kill him. I need all 3 to hopefully finish him off. So I'm just trying to clear some distance between us, hopefully make it so that he can't quite get a shot in me. But fortunately enough, I've got a machine friend that ends up shutting him down, and we get our full clipping. We're up to 4.9k damage. Looking for a shot of the 2790. Unfortunately, that one misses. But we're going to still try and put another shot in, and unfortunately, that one misses as well. This game is not looking good. It really has just collapsed very, very quickly. And we're just waiting for the reload to go in. I want to switch positions now to see if there's... Because they were pushing... All of them were spotted pushing down the 1-2. It's kind of like I want to change my position and get to this side of the ridge, because otherwise they're going to envelop round and get shots at me, and I won't be very healthy at that point. And we're going to get over to this side of the ridge, see if there's anything else that's decided to come back this way, and hopefully be able to get shots at them crossing along the AB. Now we get detected there, and it is another Progetto 66. We managed to get a nice shot snapped into him. Fortunately enough, he only tracks us, but he's got a clip, so he finishes off. But we finished that game with 2 kills, 5.2k damage, the third class because it was a loss, 993 base XP, 977 assists. That's 6.1k combined. It was a nice game for the tier 9. I thought it just showed off what the tank can do with its clip, and also a sort of situation for it where it can be a bit of a letdown because the team collapsed, but we just could not fire fast enough. There was just no way we could fire quick enough at all to get the damage, and unfortunately we ended up losing it. So we're on to the second game, and again, funnily enough, we're on Fisherman's Bay. But this time we're on the opposite spawn, and we've got good matchmaking this time around. And the one thing I didn't go over is the setup that I have for the tank. So the tank, I run rammer, stabs and optics, because obviously optics, you want to boost your view range as much as possible. View range is a very, very important statistic. Never doubt it. You want to make it better every single time, because getting out spotted can be the death of you most of the time, and yeah, you don't want that. Vert stabs, because the gun, while you're seeing it's pretty good, it's good because it's got vert stabs. And yeah, without the vert stabs it was a little bit derpy, and it was kind of annoying for that. So yeah, that's why I run the vert stabs. But I mean, you could try it, find that it's fine without the vert stabs, and you could run something like vents to make the DPM even better, or run advanced armour to be able to take less damage and stuff like that, and then pair that with the armour angling perk, you know. And there's lots of different combinations. They're just the ones that I go with. You know, it's all personal preference at the end of the day. Like rammer is obviously the key to this tank, because the DPM is it is not great, right? You need to make the reload as good as possible. So the rammer really is a key component to that. So we're just waiting for the reload to go in to get a shot into the back of that T-32. And unfortunately the CS just got in the way as we fired there, which meant we burnt our reload. And that is one thing with these auto reloaders, that for every shot missed, it's very, very painful. When you do miss a shot and you do waste a reload, you just sit there going, oh, okay, great. But like you see there, we dumped 2 into the back of the T-32 there to pad some more damage, which is great. Put him down to a 1-shot for the CS to finish him off. And like I say, with this tank, there's not as much punishment, for dropping like 1, 2 or 3 shells. Like, it doesn't feel as bad doing that in this tank. Now the reload, like I say, is long, but it just, I don't know, it doesn't just feel that bad at all. And you can, this tank's more than usable. That's the thing. It's not like the Progetto 54 where the reload in so many situations is just completely unusable, where you literally can only really do well or have decent games in matches that go longer than 5 minutes, which we all know don't happen that often anymore. This tank can do better in games that are faster, because it does have that clip potential obviously of 1200, which is nice, and it does reload the clip a little bit quicker than its predecessor and future tank. Couldn't think of the word there. So it's a lot more enjoyable, because you don't feel like you're just useless, to be honest. And that's a good thing about the tank. And like I said, this is probably my favourite tank in the line, because it's actually usable and enjoyable like that. Yeah, you know, I don't think it's that bad. So, the crew anyway is Born Leader, Rapid Loading, Sixth Sense, Trap Mechanic, Steady Aim, Run and Gun, Snapshot, Situational Awareness, and Armour Angling. If I've missed one, sorry. But yeah, Armour Angling, like I said, it's the same one I ran all the way up the line. If you want to see what it was, it's the same as what I ran in the Caro P88 and in the Progetto 54 as well. Armour Angling is pretty nice to have on these tanks because, and that's the reason I run Armour Angling is because it means that you're more likely to have to take one more shot of damage to get finished off, and that means that you're probably more likely to get at least one more shot of damage, and that's useful. That's why I do it. But there's a lot of other stuff that you could use. There's an issue that I have found with this tank and with the Rinoceronte, that the ammo rack tends to take a bang every now and then, and yeah, on this first shell, 12.2 second reload. When it gets ammo racked, it's a 20. I think it was a 22 second reload or a 24 second reload, something like that, for one shell, for the first shell in this clip. Yeah, it's not pleasant. So you could run like safe stowage, but I don't tend to run safe stowage and stuff like that because, well, for the most part, you don't really feel the benefit of it all that much. Sometimes, well, it's just down to RNG, isn't it? And your ammo rack will still just go, you know what, I feel like getting damaged. And it still happens. So it's kind of like, I just don't use it. And that's why, pretty much. Just because of RNG. So, we've coming up behind this heavy tank here. We're waiting for the reload because I don't want to basically have bad DPM. Managed to shut him down. And we're just going to duck in behind this building to make sure we don't get shot as much by the Progetto 54 ahead. There's actually something towards our cap. It's just got spotted. It's a TD. It's actually a T28. And we're just going to pop up. He's sideways on, so we may as well just drop a shot in. And I'm thinking, should I drop the clip? Nah, you know what? Boost. We've got food boost. We're going to wait for the shell to go in, so we're not burning our whole DPM. And we do finish him off. Because there's still quite a lot of tanks left, and there's still a potential to do a fair bit of damage. We know there's quite a bit up in front of us, and if we blew the clip into the T28, we're not going to get as much damage from those guys that are sat in front of us as well. So that's why I didn't blow the clip there. So we're going to pop up, we're going to see if we can get a shot at this Progetto 54 that shot us earlier on. He takes a hit from the side. Looking if I can get a shot at him. Unfortunately, I can't quite see him. The Kampfpanzer is in a position where he's just getting away with it. Then the medium tank gets spotted in our base, a T54, so we're going to pop up, pop a blind shot at the bush where he was, finish him off. And we're also spotting some of these guys, which is nice, so we're getting some good assistance. We're going to wait for the reload to go in so we can drop some shots into this T43 here. And unfortunately, the shell hits the wall in front of us, and it looked like it flew off to the distance. Out of frustration, I just go, you know what, screw it then. I'm just gonna fire both shells, finish off the T43, and that's the way it is. And we're just reloading the shell. We're gonna wait for it. Unfortunately, the Brask gets finished off before we can get the shell in, and the last tank alive is the Progetto 54, and he gets finished off before we can get anywhere near him. But that was a really nice game for the Progetto 66. Finished that game with 6 kills, 6.2k damage. 1887 base XP, 288 assistance. So we actually managed to get the ace tank of the top gun, the high caliber. So yeah, we actually managed to get a top gun with that kill on the T43, so it was worth blowing the clip. Like I say, 6.2k damage. It's a decent tank. It's not that bad. I found it quite enjoyable, and it's one that the reload is actually manageable. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
A great success!